forgot the Hecher Madrege. Okay. A good Erev Shabbos. Rashi brings down Vayaitzei Ya'akov B'Sheva. The Shaila is why does he need that lotion Vayaitzei B'Sheva? Or he should have said Vayelech Harona. We know he's living in Be'er and whatever it is. So he says because of the tzaddik living in a city or place is of Diva, Hadora, and Tefalta, whatever it is, the Shufra. So those are the three things. Now, two of them are something that the Gadol gives over to the people. By Moshe Rabbeinu, when he put his hands on Yeshua, Nosam Ahoid to him, or to the Sanhedrin, I think the Loshen uses the Loshen Nosam Ahoidim, or the thing there. And Ziva is raised, the son, the Ziva Shir, Ziva Chama. So that's something that the Chama gives to the people. So the tzaddik gives over the influence, I guess, nothing. And then the thing that's done, we like to have it. So that's the beauty. So the beauty is something that no one really gets. It's just that's an appreciation of it being there. But it's not. But it's geschmack. I mean, obviously, you like to look at nice things. So think there, what Hanoi is it really do you get? I really don't know. Because we're not talking about taiva. We're not talking about that thing there. We're talking about beauty. So, like, what do you see in there that's beautiful? But because by people, you can say maybe it's taiva, even that's not the real Lashon that's used. Even in English, it's not used. It's eye candy or something like that. Why using such a thing there? It means you have annoyance from it. Not necessarily because there's a taiva involved. When they talk in Tanakh, by Shmuel, when the women and the girls were talking to Shol HaMelech, at that time wasn't a melech yet, but they talked too much. They said they want to be mistakel b'yofyoi, and do what with it? And what are you going to do with this yofi? We're not talking about prutzes. We're not doing anything there. Elavos, there's a beauty in seeing something beautiful. There's a ma'aser to it. So what exactly do you get out of it? I guess, okay, I don't know if you do, but still, I know you. What I'm going to tell you, people enjoy it. They pay to go to the Museum of Art also, so I guess it must be some reason to do it. But the ikar is, why did they pick Yaakov to do this? You'll say he's the only one that left. Avraham left before. In Vayavram it says, Vayeshiv Avram Veretz Plishtim Yom Rabin. So he's there, he lived, or he stayed in Eretz Plishtim Yom Rabin. Could have said Vayaitzei Eretz Plishtim after Yom Rabin. So if you want to teach me that lesson, you could have taught it by Avram. So why do you have wait until there? And besides, you have Rivka and Yitzchak are still alive. They're bigger tzaddikim than him. I mean, he was only the son. I mean, the tat is not alive. So in Islam, they have a bigger influence than the thing. So people, so they have plenty of sunshine still left. So you didn't take anyone away from us. So I want to tell you that this is really for everybody. This thing, there's something, I thought of a Hecher Madrege and I can't remember it, so I'm not going to just tell you this is the original work that I remember. That this we expect every Ben Torah to reach this Madrege. In other words, let's say you daven in shul, and you daven next to a guy, you never said hello to him, never said good morning to him, but he davens very nicely. And whatever it is that you see his daven, you see his kavanas, it has an effect on you. And maybe you daven. The guy, all of a sudden, he moved away, right? And so you feel it's empty. what happened to the guy? Where's the, my davening's not the same anymore. So it has an effect on the people, even though you're pushing a person. It has nothing to do with being the God Lador. They're just a regular person. So that's expected. So what about the God Lador, Avram? When he was the God Lador, by him, when he leaves a place, we expect it to remain the same place. It was his place. That means we still do the same thing we did when he was alive, or something like that. Now, he's always he had such an effect on the community that we are his. We do what he does. Yaakov didn't do it yet. He was a young guy. He didn't have that, but he had that effect of affecting you to be better. So that's only as long as you're there. You left, it's gone. But the Gadol, he's supposed to have given over, which is what actually happened. He thought he was in Eretz Plishtim, but in truth he was in Beersheba. That's why he went back to Beersheba. And he went to Chol, okay. And he goes to the Beis HaMikdash, and he pierces the Beis HaMikdash. Now here's just the point of how we think ourselves. I don't know about Yaakov Avinu, I'm just but how we think. How come he didn't stop the first time? Why did he have to go back? So obviously the first time he felt it wasn't necessary. No, he just came out of 14 years of yeshiva, Shem Be'eva, right? And I'm piercing a shul, right? You come from yeshiva, you can tell me I need to go into the shul, but it's least my cup. I mean, other thing. So he doesn't bother with it. So he goes to Choron, and he takes a look at Choron, and he sees, well, if I dove in the place it is, so he says over there, this is going to affect me, I better go back and pray with my parents prayed over there. He realized this felt him, the yeshiva didn't prepare him for that. So maybe that's why he went back. Okay, I don't know the Indian of how the Avnei Amokim protected him, so I can't answer you, because as far as I know, snakes can go between the rocks, a lion will jump over the rocks. I don't see any putting rocks down are going to help me too much. But you had the old Kasha that says over there that the Rashi brings down that all the rocks had a fight. Right, because it says it ends up to be one stone in the end. So how do you get to be one stone? Because every stone said, Allah, the tzaddik should sleep on me. So first of all, what is it going to help me? To become one stone. He's still only going to sleep in one place. I mean, his head's only going to be over here. So you became attached. But so what? What did you gain out of it? I'm part of it. I'm a Yankee fan, so I'm part of the president of the World Series. I mean, that's a knowledge guy, right? It doesn't mean anything. So I don't think that's what it means. But somehow, maybe you got to something like that. Whatever it is, first it's one. And then when it's one, who says he's going to lay on that part of the pillow, maybe he'll lay on me also. You move from the middle of the pillow to the side of the pillow, to the end of the pillow. Okay, listen. So supposedly there was an Israeli, this happened during the Machlekes between Aguda and Deglat Torah. There was a discussion, it was, even when they made Shalom, it wasn't Shalom. So whatever you want to call it. I mean, technically we're a party again, but we're still up, or we still call ourselves two names or whatever it is there. And but we have a united front. What's it called? United Torah or something like that. Something like that. United. Okay. So it seems one guy asked another guy, well, what if the Benzion made. They say yes, and he says, why is there no Shalom? He says, the Benzion, he said, because by here, we made the rocks get together, right? Well, if he's making a nest already, why didn't he make it a pillow already? Why should he make a rock? A rock hurts, it's heavy, it's hard. To lay on a rock, make it a pillow. You're making a nest already, right? So why don't you do a real nest? So he said, once you have a machlekes, you can't make a pillow that you need sign. You can make it one, but you can't make it a pillow. That was the guy wanted to say over there. That was really true. That's just something that you have to think about. But I heard about, they're very sharp, these guys, so they can dig up these type of things, But I don't know if it's emes or not. Yeah. Now, he says over here what happened. He saw this ladder, and the ladder was facing backwards. He says, well, first let's say what the ladder was for. He says the malachim of Eretz Yisrael were going down, or going up, and the malachim of Chutz La'aretz were coming down. Whoever they were, whether the guys from Stoim or whatever, I'm not interested in which malachim we're talking about. But basically that was the idea, that these guys finished and these guys are starting their job. So it says, where were the legs? Rashi says, the legs, the Reisha was in Benzion. The legs were in Beersheba, and so and it's going over. The middle is over Yerushalayim, so it means the legs are to the south. Yaakov is going north. He's going to Aram Narayim. He's going to Haran. That's north. That you're going to the Euphrates, to the Pros. So you got to go there. So it should be just the opposite. When Malachim don't come down there. So at one time it could be, you see, in people also, a drastic change is very hard to live with. So if you're going up, let's say you want to go up to Hashemayim, that's the Herste Kedusha, right? So Eretz Yisrael is a lesser Kedusha. So for me to get to Hashemayim, to get to Kedusha, I have to first go through Eretz Yisrael. And so therefore the Malachim that are going up have to go through Eretz Yisrael to get as much Kedusha there and then go up. The Malachim of Chutz La'aretz that have to go out into there, so they have to go down. But once right into Chutz La'aretz, it would be too Jewish for trying to change. So it goes to Eretz Yisrael, then going through Eretz Yisrael to Chutz La'aretz, so that they can deliver it. That's the only time. Because otherwise it's backwards. Okay. So when he saw this dream, so Vayikatz Yaakov Mishnos, he wakes up and he says, "Ochim Yesh Hashem b'mokem hazeh v'anoich lo yadati." And there's a lot of Kabbalah stuff on Anoich lo yadati. So I don't know Hasidic Torah, whatever it is, on the because he didn't realize that his face is carved into the Kisei HaKavod, which you saw at that time. Anoich lo yadati, I didn't know, I think whatever it is there. But anyway, but the normal practice is like this, that I wouldn't have slept there. That's the normal taich, right? I wouldn't have slept there. And by the end, Vayashkem Yaakov Baboker, Yaakov got up in the morning. If he got up in the morning, it means he went back to sleep. So in the same place, you just said you're afraid to sleep in here, so why did you go to sleep? Don't make any sense, okay? So I'm telling you that he realized what the Rebbeinu Shem didn't tell him, go back and sleep there. He made nisim that caused him to fall asleep in the Beis HaMikdash. Now it was like this, he got tired, it was the middle of the day really, it was a very fast trip, so why is he tired, So but Elavos, he was tired, he went to sleep, and he made Dafkin L'Mokum HaMikdash. So he's thinking, why did God do this to me? So he's thinking, so he says, I was 14 years in Shem Ve'eva. Now, the truth is, he said, didn't sleep in the 14 years. Impossible. The Gemara says in the Dorim, if a guy makes a neder not to sleep for 3 days, you give him out this right away, because it's impossible to become the neder. So therefore, it's automatically he's able to love already. So you beat him up. So if that's the case, so what shot 14 years? I mean, if Yaakov can do it for 14 years, so another person can do it for 3 days. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Obviously, it's a human impossibility. So human impossibility, so it's impossible. So let's just like that. So you'll say it means he didn't go to sleep. Didn't go to sleep, that I would think he wasted 14 years of learning. I mean, that's what it seems to me. I mean, the guy's learning about the Gemara and he's tired, right? He wakes himself up. He's been doing that for 14 years. How much is he going to learn? It doesn't make any sense. Elavos, the pshat is that if I'm Isaac in Ruchnius, I can't think of the Gashmis. It's not supposed to. That's supposed to be the thing. Like we have such a concept in the Beis Knesset. Beis Knesset doesn't have a mezuzah. You're not allowed to eat in there. You're not allowed to sleep in there. It has no shaykhis in the Beis Knesset. Beis Medrash, put up a mezuzah. You can eat, you can sleep. Tell me the Chachamim only, but okay. But it's considered my house. Beis Knesset is not, the Beis Mikdash is nobody's house. It's not my house. So therefore you have, so if I'm Isaac and Torah, now this was a philosophy that really existed. I don't know how much it exists now, but years ago it existed. Between the people becoming Americanized, and they wanted to keep a little of the hasogis of yeshiva in their kids. So they would have a television in the living room, let's say, and the parents, the mother and father, would sit down to watch it. And the kids come home for yeshiva, and he sees the parents sit and watch the television. He sits down with them, and he's also watching. And they tell him, "That's not for you. Go away. You're still yeshiva bacha. Become a balabas, we'll worry about it. But right now you're yeshiva bacha." You start thinking differently when you're a balabas. Why? That's a good question. But I had this once with a guy that he was in Eretz Yisrael. Now you're talking about, this is a long time ago, about probably 55 years ago at least. So the guy was what? He was in yeshiva. He went to Eretz Yisrael. And he said, the couple of years he was in Eretz Yisrael, he did not eat meat, not even chicken, from Shabbos to Shabbos. And Shabbos he had a piece of chicken. That's all it was. But the rest of the week was only vegetables or whatever you call it, or grains or something like that. But now that he's a balabas, he wants carpeted floors. Okay, everything, you know, already pay more for the wooden floors. But the carpeting floors were for the guys who were born in tenements. You know, the carpeted floors, even though they were fancy, they were what do they call them again?
Parquet floors.
Huh?
The parquet floors.
Parquet floors, but it's everybody has parquet floors. So kenyiches, you know. So yikar is you want a carpet. The cheapest floors are carpeted floors. They only put plywood and you put carpet on top of it, and it's going, you know. But the wood is the choshev is out. But not to the guys who live in the tenement. So, but he wanted carpet for why? Now I'm a balabas, I want to look like a balabas. What was the logic to it? But I remember the guy telling this to me, so that's what I'm saying. So it's the same idea. Kol zman I'm in yeshiva, I'm a yeshiva man, that's one halacha. Come a balabas, that's I have a different value system. Okay. So that's the way he thought. And therefore, when he came to Haran originally, he was going to go to sleep, and he was going to think, I didn't sleep till that time. He didn't think that, why are you going to sleep? I'm a balabas now. I can go to sleep, right? I don't have to be up. But the Benzion showed him, you're going to be a balabas in the Beis HaMikdash. What does it mean? Just like you have to sleep as a balabas, you have to sleep in the 14 years of yeshiva also. But the idea is, you sleep what you need for yourself to keep you strong. After you're strong, then you have to be up. There's no such thing as sleeping. And the question, how do you do it? Because then you meet China and stuff like that, and the things to figure the proper balance. I guess every person is different. Years ago we talked about 8 hours of sleep. I think now the doctors say you need 10 hours of sleep to be optimum. So if you have 10 hours of sleep, then when are you going to steig? And then say Farad in China, so obviously you're not supposed to have 10 hours of sleep. So I think the difference is, you're right, optimum is 10 hours of sleep, but you lost 10 hours. 5 hours is not optimum, but I reckon an extra 5 hours of learning, I'm going to learn a lot more than I would have learned the optimum for those few minutes that I'd be
He used to wait until he was out of yeshiva to teach him how to sleep in yeshiva?
I'm sorry?
They used to wait until
They wanted to teach him that you don't live that way, that in yeshiva you're holy, and outside you lost your holiness. I'm a balabas now. You're always the same way. Your job is to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu and only take what you need for this world.
So he's teaching him the kuda for his balabas years, not for his yeshiva.
For balabas and for yeshiva, man. This is the way you're supposed to live a life.
Always, but the way he lived in yeshiva,
yeah.
He should be always
right,
like
but yeshiva was too much. He didn't sleep. But he didn't gain anything from that sleep. That's why I gave you the Moshe. He kept sleeping all the time because he couldn't stay up. So therefore he didn't really learn.
Why wait 14
so
years?
Why the Benzion waited there? He wasn't going there to Beis HaMikdash. I don't know. So he didn't make the thing there. I guess those mashgichim didn't have that asagi yet. I don't know. So basically, I'm sorry? The Maila. Yeah, but that's mother is right. You have to gain something from that mother. That's what the Benzion says. It's not a point, I'm up. I have to gain something from it. So my mind has to be fresh. It has to be thinking. So sleep a couple hours, and then you'll be able to do it. Then you can sit up and albit.
So he didn't do that. What's the right he didn't do that?
Why didn't he do it?
Who says he didn't do that?
They state he didn't sleep for 14 years.
So he fell asleep for a few hours and then lunchtime.
That's not what it says, though. That's not what it is. That's not what it says. It doesn't sleep. It says the Feresh Vayishka V'Moka Mahu means until now he did not sleep. That's what Rashi says.
It can't be, because he had to have steig, because otherwise he wouldn't have been making him the 14 years. He should have got 36 years to lose Yosef. Gemara says that he didn't get an einish for his 14 years of leaving at Torah. So nice days he was learning. He was just sitting at the stand the
that's still get schar for that. What's the difference?
It wouldn't be making.
Who says that's why not? If guy put it, he definitely did it for Torah. And whether it's the right hashkaf or the wrong hashkaf, he did it for Torah. Why wouldn't he get schar for it?
So the Chaim brings down that he would have to learn 14 years, but we have to prepare for love.
Right.
So they're bringing out, the Chaim's bringing out that it was the greatest hasmad.
But can you do it? So that's the whole point. Can you do it?
He slept and he started.
This is where you learned it from. But he didn't do it. Rashi said he didn't do it. What can you do?
But to back up what the Rebbe said, though, at the end, when he leaves with Lavan, he gets into the conversation. He says, he says, "Vatidad and says, Zeli Yeshem Shalom Bevisecha," right? That he worked, he didn't sleep.
He didn't have
so he learned. It says that he took the lesson. He took the lesson to heart.
Yeah. But what I'm saying, but it wasn't as effective. He would have been if he would have done it this way.
Okay. I guess that's still shiny. So his learning in those years was not optimum learning.
That I can't answer you. I guess Yaakov Avinu learned Optimum learning. The rest of the people in Shemeva, maybe they didn't learn Optimum. I don't know what happened. We don't find any of them around, so what am I going to tell you?
There was a chesarn in his mahalach then.
No, they didn't. No one taught them to write the mahalach. So what's there to think about? The first time he did it, why didn't he? What about when he was in Yitzchak's house? What did he do? He slept or not? I assume he slept.
Yeah.
So he wasn't in yeshiva. Yitzchak's house is a yeshiva. Yitzchak's house is a yeshiva, but it's not a yeshiva.
It says Yeshiva.
It's Yitzchak's house. That's what it is there.
I thought Rashi says Yeshiva Halim Shem Veiver, right? He wasn't yeshiva in those days. He just didn't do it.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but the Ohalim means when he went to the Shem Veiver, when he stood there 14, when he went into the dormitory, that's when he was 14 years.
That's what he's referring to. Yeshiva.
Yeah, the other times he went back with yeshiva, I go to yeshivas, I go 4 hours to yeshiva, then I come home for lunch, I go back to yeshiva, another 4 hours, I go home for night. Like the guys in the neighborhood, what do you know?
The Shiva always says over that the Yetzirah for the Goyin was you should learn an extra half hour.
Okay, right, okay.
The next day you should be tired.
So that's what he did. Okay. So he took the thing, and now he took a matzeva. Now he took this stone that he slept on, which became a lot bigger than it was when he started with, and he made it into a matzeva where he put oil on it. This is a matzeva of korbanos. Okay, so this is again with Rashi. I don't know where Rashi gets it from, but everybody would probably agree with Rashi. But I take it from the psukim, so I don't know the limit. It says, well, you're not allowed to have a matzeva, asher sonai Hashem Elokecha. God hates matzevas. Why do he hate matzevas? Now, I'm going to bring a raya to the point also. Why does he hate matzeva? Because the matzeva is, this is what I am. Take it or leave it. You have that expression. A lot of times, this is he doesn't put on the axe, this is him, that's no milah. That means he's not interested in growth. A masbeach always grows. You always can go into the thing. I'll give you that's the chayil, the different masbeach and the thing there. So Rashi brings down in Parshas Shoftim, but it was Ohov v'mei ha'ovis. How does he know? Well, how do Avram know? I assume only from this story, because he made a matzeva. So if he made a matzeva, so you see that the Ovis used a matzeva. So I kind of know the Ovis used a matzeva for gashmias, not for ruchnias. The ruchnias he only used a matzbeach. For gashmias he used a matzeva because you're not supposed to have that much, just what you need. So therefore, there's an end to it. Ruchnius is something that's without end, so therefore you make him a mizbeach. And another raya to that is Rashi in Parshas Bolok says that the office did not bring any korbanos. They built 18 mizbeachs, and they only brought one korban. The ram that Avram made instead of Yitzchak. Otherwise, they never brought another korban. In Israel, it says the first the words korbanos, they bring the wrong one. But they didn't, whatever it is, when they built mizbeachas, they didn't build the korbanos. That's what Rashi says. So, what's the point of the mizbeach? What are you building the mizbeach for? So I think what it meant is that when you move into a neighborhood and you're building a house or whatever it is, or you want to live there, you want to touch up who lives here. So you put down, if it's a guy that wants to keep growing, he puts down a mizbeach in front of his house. If it's a guy who says, I'm this big, and that's it, that's what you get, so he put a matzeva in front of his house. Now, this is something I said, my mother-in-law's unveiling. Because I remember that time I wasn't sure if it's a midah toiva, if a minig toiva or not. You go to a cemetery, right? There's a gadol in the cemetery. That's pretty much in any cemetery. You find little stones on top of the matzeva. I didn't pay for those little stones. The little stones mess up the look of my matzeva. The matzeva looks pretty nice. It's got a nice design. It's cut pretty. What are you putting those stones on there? And if you go to the Rosh Hashiva in Eretz Yisrael, or to all those, you have bricks put in there. You have all kinds of crazy things that doesn't even look nice. So what's the tachlis of it? So it's a good madrega. So the shaila is a good minig or not? I mean, what are you doing? So at times it's a good minig. What's the minig? The minig is that you can't. Why do you make matzeva when a guy dies? Because he's finished. There's not much he can't add to himself anymore. This is what he was, and he made it this big, and that's it. But we, his talmidim or children, we can follow his ways, and we can give him schar that he can get even after he's dead. So we put down, we commit ourselves to bring you to hecher madrega. That's the point of our eating the stones. So then there's some kind of mokum to it. Okay. And the reason he picked oil, if you're talking about why he picked matzeh, because you don't find oil, a carbon of oil. Oil is part of a mincha, but you don't find an oil by itself. But you do have wine by itself. You have summon by itself. Why didn't he bring Keteris place? Why didn't he bring something that's a nemesis carbon? Why did he bring a new carbon? Now, when you want to describe Gashmis, how do you describe it? In English, how would you describe Gashmis?
Fat?
Huh?
Fat? The fat.
Fat, yeah. Where's the fat? You have that expression, I think. Where's the fat? Right? Without that, there's no taste. You don't take nothing. There's no geschmack. You know, the fat. You live off the fat of the land. Why are you using that Russian fat of the land? What's the thing there? Because that's the type of Gashmis. So you can say it means because it makes things taste better. Or you can say there's more things to do with oil. Oil is a food. You can cook with it. You can rub it on your skin. You can also light bulbs. I mean, light fire with it. So it does a lot of things. So therefore, if you want to pick something that's a Gashmi, to represent Gashmi, it's oil. And therefore, and he says, and that's a seif. That has an end. Yeah. Yeah, so that's why he did that. And then, and he's making, and when he did that, he's making his neder. Now, what is a neder? Neder is a funny type of neder, he's saying. He called, Vayidad Yaakov neder, lema. Im yeh shekim imodi, v'misperani baderech hazeh asher anochi hailech. In other words, lotzim lechem lecha beged lubash. I'm going to see, I'm going to have everything I need. V'shafti b'sholom zot Rashi b'li chet. I'm going to come back without doing any averis, right? Sovi. Then I'm first going to be mekabel this as a lukim. But if it doesn't happen, if I come back and it don't work, I'm not mekabel it. Now, you find by Avraham Avinu, the Benzion told them what to do. You want me to be your God? To go make a milah, it's halach l'fon avei somim. And that's you have instructions what it takes. Yitzchok doesn't tell you anything, so I don't know exactly what it is that made him okay Yitzchok, but I assume it has to do with the Akedah, whatever it is. It's either Yosef, Keshem, Kim, or Avas Hashem, whatever, some kind of a thing by himself, nefesh. And Yaakov, this is it, but again, there's no tzivu here. He just was maramis him through the actions that happened, that you came to the understanding that this is what I want. But I didn't tell you. So he's saying, since it wasn't an actual command, so therefore he's saying, I don't know if I can accept it, if I can do this. So therefore this is a shayla. So therefore, if I can come back and I'm able to live through and keep my madrege as a stuff, then I'm willing to accept it as a way of life. Now, why is this better, let's say, than fasting? And I think this is what I mean when you say having a basic hanoia from Gashmias. It's easier to fast than to do $1,000 diet. Because fasting means I don't eat. But the last bite, I want to eat. And it's right in front of me. That's very hard. I'm not going to eat it. So basically, so that's what the ikar you have to, the last bite you're not supposed to have, if we're doing the right way. In other words, and we explained it once upon a time, like if a person needs a certain amount of protein, right? The difference between the Oraman and the rich guy is what protein he can eat. And he eats sardines or ribeye or rib steak, right? But it's only 3 ounces of protein, not 12 ounces or 25 ounces or 50 ounces like they eat. It's not that way there. You're still only entitled to 3 ounces of protein, but you can have enjoyment of 3 ounces, but now stop after 3 ounces. It's very hard, right? That's the point. Sardines, you may be able to stop after 3 ounces, but I don't think you can stop after a ribeye. And then we'll be able to mikabel it. But that's Elokei Yaakov. This is again what we commit ourselves to every day, 3 times a day. Elokeinu, Elokei Aviseinu, Elokei Avram, Elokei Yitzchak, Elokei Yaakov. If you're going to tell me that Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov is only identification of who our forefathers are, then I should have said Elokeinu, Elokei Aviseinu, Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov. Not Elokei Avram, Elokei Yitzchak, Elokei Yaakov. So I want to tell you that Elokeinu, Elokei Aviseinu is in Parshas Kisovei. That's of not in Torah and us. Now, we accept the Torah that our parents accepted. But there's also 3 big hashkafas that we had to accept with it. This was Elokei Avram, Elokei Yitzchak, Elokei Yaakov. Those are the things, which is the Gashmi, which is the Elokei Avram, Mitzalach Lefonah, which give value to the kids, and I guess Mesilas Nefesh and stuff like that, whatever, Ahavas Hashem. Now, there is one thing that he puts in at the end, which has nothing to do with how you live. So Yavakashi is not a very strange kind of a neder. Whatever you give me, I'm going to give you back 10%. I don't need you to give me back anything. I mean, who needs you? I'm giving you the 100%. Why do I need you to give me back 10%? That's a stupid thing like that. And I'll tell you, if it's even better, if you give out the tzedakah, you don't know how many fakers there are in the world, right? So he said, Reuven Shlit, you want to make sure the tzedakah gets to the right place. I'll tell you what, give me 90%, and you take my 10%, and you give it to whoever you want to give it to. Right? And that way you'll get to the right guy. Why do I have to be the one that's giving it? That's what normally. So he said, no. What he needs over here is because I'm living a certain way, I'm living a Torah Welt, even though I'm a balabas, but I'm a ben Torah. I'm not a balabas, I'm a ben Torah. I'm living a certain way of living, not wasting things and stuff like that. So then I have to have chizuk. How are you going to have chizuk? So one of the ways of having chizuk, if you find the place that's called loch, that's me, in God's place in this world, and you attach yourself to it, you'll have support from the people who run it, or whatever it is. The guy's a gavir. So if a guy's a gavir, he gives a lot of money to yeshiva. Automatically, he's a buddy with the Rosh Yeshiva. He's a buddy with the guys in the yeshiva and stuff like that. So they have an effect on his life. So therefore, they won't let him go too far the other way. So that's why he wants it. I want you to give it, that I should be part of the giving it, in order to keep me in this position that I'm able to do this.
So he wasn't sure if this mahalach that David is teaching is correct? Like,
no, he wouldn't know if he can live up to it. Correct, it's correct, but can he live up to it? That's the question.
So he's saying, otherwise I'll just go back to my old mahalach.
My old mahalach, that I can live with. Or maybe I'll try my best, or whatever you want to.
I guess, like, what's...
Try my best means how you try. We understand, I'm trying and learning. I'm listening to the shiur like this. That's called listening to the shiur. Okay, now there's, I was pointing out in the tefillas that we have on Rosh Hashanah. I got to sit over there. Thinking there. What we say by Kriyas HaTorah. So, we got big words too. Okay. Yeah. So it says over here what? Yeah. I'm going to read it to you. L'chaim aruch m'chaim temishochim parnosa teva v'kalkola v'lechem lechol beged lubosh. That seems pretty basic, right? Right? V'zeu v'oisha v'koved v'arichas yomim. When I say beged lubosh, then he says v'oisha v'koved v'arichas yomim. So I need now not only a coat and food, I want shiras too. You're asking for basics, you're asking for what equal? So here I'm not too sure really, but I think it means that Pshat is a person, security is a very strange thing. If you know you're going to have lunch, right? So then you have menuchas hanefesh, no matter what the lunch is. I'm not talking about guy has to have a steak and he has to have this thing. The yeshiva is giving lunch. I don't know if it's corn and potato, mashed potatoes today. It's giving me, or I'm probably going to have knishes or going to have some other stuff there. I don't know what they're serving, but it's lunch. Right? I'm come and eat. I'm not going to be hungry. So it's not bad. So as long as I know I'm going to have it, it's not a problem. When I don't have it, then I got problems, right? Then all of a sudden I'm hungry. And what are you hungry for? Oh, I like this, I'd like that, I'd like that, right? So the idea is what gives me security to be able to be satisfied with less is the fact that I can buy more. If I couldn't buy more, I wouldn't be satisfied with less. But because I can always buy it, I don't need it. I think if I can't buy it, then I need it. I must have it. But if I can get it, I don't must have it. So I think that could be what he's trying to say. But really, I need lechem, lubosh. That's all I really need. But I don't know if I can do that if you don't give me oisha v'koved. And we see that in the Maisa, we're not going to say, on one hand it's musar, on one hand it's not. Like in other words, do I need a bank account? Right? The Benzion is giving me food. I have a salary. I got a thing. I eat up my salary. I have nothing to save. I need every penny I get. Right? Are you hungry? No. Are you have shelter? Yeah. You have clothes? Yeah. I'm not missing anything, right? You need an account? No. So what are you having? Why are you saving money for? Right? So the kasha would be on a person who is mitzamtzim from himself to put away money. I mean, whether you'll have to or not, I'm not getting into the ashkafas Chayim, but basically, do I have to put away? Now you'll tell me I have to make a chasana in 2 years, or 5 years, so I got to start saving now for that chasana, right? Because I'm not changing my job, or I'm going to get that. So that is a new din, and I think that's mizaynoisav shalodim tzuvu Rosh Hashanah. It doesn't say parnasosa tzuvu Rosh Hashanah, even though some Rishonim actually use the Loshin and the interchange, but the Gemara says the Loshin is mizaynoisav, and the taich of mozon means my food, but it means my expenditures. My expenditures are tzuvu Rosh Hashanah, not my income. Because my income I don't spend always necessarily, the whole income. But what I'm able to spend, that's Ksuvim Rosh Hashanah. So the Rebbeinu Shalom is giving me that I'm able to spend what I need for food and stuff. That the year of my daughter's wedding, He's giving me another $50,000. How did he give it to me? By putting it in the bank over 5 years or 10 years or whatever it is in order to have the money. And now I can spend it on it this year. So this year, you guys, I can spend it $100,000 instead of 50, because I need to marry off my daughter. But Lamaisa, when did I get that money? They got it over the different years. But it's made for expenditure. Because the closest in your hand, it doesn't mean anything if you didn't spend it. You had no anoia from it, so what did you get from it? Shiva used to say, like, that he makes more, I don't remember the exact lotion, that makes more, he has more anoia from his work than Rockefeller does from his. Rockefeller works for nothing. Why? Because he has all the money in the world already. So why are you working? Right? But the Shiva worked because he needed every penny he made, so therefore he worked. So he had anoia from his work. They're saying this. So maybe there's a big difference between a guy, you're living with it. So that would be a point of, so the only reason the person needs money is for spending it. But what happens if a guy needs money because he wants to feel secure? Right? So that's felt as a pekira, that's a kfira, right? I'm going to call you not pekira, so I'm staying out of that one. I'm not going to anything there. But lemaisa, but the person feels more secure because he has a bank account. Does that mean anything? No. The Benzion is the giver. What do you feel secure? The biggest lie was, we lived through it. In 2008, Lehman Brothers went broke. Right, so all the people that were involved in Lehman Brothers, which was the big brokerage house or whatever it was there, had millions of dollars in their retirement fund. And when they broke, they all became alike. No one had the money anymore. The money disappeared. Right? Guys in the Depression, you had the banks. You had money in the bank. The bank had a bank holiday, closed up, no money. It's finished. You lost it. So what do you say you have? Well, I don't believe. That's the Torah. So you don't believe you're a kaifa. That's not a yichus. So I'm saying, so obviously we need bank account, but for what? Only for the reason that we're able to spend it when we need it. That's the point. That's what we need a bank account for. Now, how much do I need in a bank account? What is this? That's a different story. You already know how much liquid I need. They should be in pragmatia. Should I give it out to tzedakah? Those are different points already. And we go to Lavan. Or the point of at the end of it, okay. Love and hate. It's a thing. Shakespeare wrote a famous line when Brutus made a speech to the Senate why they assassinated Julius Caesar. So he said, I love Rome. I loved Caesar. I killed him, but I loved him. But I loved Rome more, and because I loved Rome more, I had to kill Caesar, because Caesar was going to make machav Rome. Is this correct? Is this really an emotional thing, or this is not true? Because we find by what comes in the naming of Leah's kids, you see that there's a different concept. What's it say over here? It says she gave Leah Vayar Hashem Kisnua Leah. He saw that Leah was hated. Didn't say she wasn't loved. It says she was Snua Leah. Vayiftach es Rachma, he opened up her stomach, and she had a kid. The Torah was tailored, Benzion, Reuven, Ki Yomra, Ki Ro Hashem, Ve'oni, Ki Ato Yavani Ishi. Now my husband will love me. That means she only held it with a song of love. He doesn't love me enough. But now that I gave him a kid, he will love me more. God saw it as hate. right? But she didn't realize that. What comes to Shimon, God saw that I hated. So therefore he gave me the second one. He called him Shimon. So obviously she also had this concept of more love or hate. That's something trying to actually work it exactly how to tighten it up. That's the thing. So you have, so the Torah is telling us now maybe we can judge it with kids. I don't know, kids, wives, whatever it is there. Guy has 10 kids. Now there's a basic love to the 10 kids, right? I love my kids, right? And that there should be no difference between the first, the second, third, fifth, seventh, eighth. What doesn't make a difference? I love all my kids. It should be equal. If I don't love one of them, it means I hate him. Now why I hate him, he doesn't listen to me, he fights me, he does this thing, that's why I don't hate him. Now there's also, sometimes you have a relationship with one more than the others. So I love them all, but when I think of my kids, I think about him because he's the one who's always around. So that's already maybe a greater love, or maybe there's no such thing as a greater love as a son. It's a greater love as a person, maybe, but not as a son. The shaila is you're not supposed to show that kind of love. That's what Ya'akov blew twice. Side with the wife and side with the son. That he showed a difference between one and another. You're not supposed to be different one or the other. I love all my wives equally. I personally in the bedroom, that's my business and the thing. But I don't advertise it l'rabim. I gave one a knippet. I give him an extra special kiss or something. That's no problem. But I give him extended passim. That's the problem. Because I'm mishana bein ben abonim. But so my wife used to use lotion. How do you know if it was a good parent? If all the kids say I was the favorite, I was a good parent. How do you know it was a bad parent? Everyone said that you were the favorite. So therefore, they all felt the sinner part of it, right? There's always a thing there. So, but that's the point of that love of hate.
How you do it? How you do it? You should be loved by everyone.
That's your problem. I didn't get involved in that one. But
it's very hard to do that.
No, you can yell at one more than another. There's no problem with that. No, it's the Drochel love. Not Drochel. The Rivka love Esav. Right? It said she loved Yaakov. Right? Did she love Esav? It's his kid. Right? So it says in Farish that I don't want to lose you both in one day. Why does she care? What does she care about Esav for? I love Esav. He's my kid. But he's a bum. I know he's a bum. I think that. The truth is, even Yaakov Yitzchak knew he was a bum. Because he has to tell him, don't remember Shecht, and don't steal. I wouldn't tell that to Yaakov. In other words, all of us, I know you're a crook. I know you're a guy that takes the easy way out and stuff like that. But you listen to what I told you, so that's why I'm not choshid. How can I trust you? But basically, I know who you are. But you're really a good kid anyway. Like everyone says, I once says to father, the kid picked up the father and stuff. So I say, so he said, but it's really a good kid. So how is he a good kid? In what way? What's the kid telling me he's good?
So when the Eibishter asked Avram by the Akedah, Pinchas, Asherhavta, Yechidcha, the Eibishter was wrong in that? No. Avram's not a good parent?
What's very good? He loved Yishmael.
That's Avram's answer, but what's Eibishter's question? Like saying to him, Ahafta, it's time.
Now, why do you need the whole thing? Why didn't you just tell him Yitzchak? I have no idea of that, but he goes through three. The Kashi they're asking is why do you say three identifications?
Right.
It's it's Yitzchak. Why didn't he just say Yitzchak?
So he was trying to be Malamed us this point, no matter what, there should be
that I can't answer.
They should all be.
I can't answer because he giving Meferish, he says there's no difference to me between Yitzchak and Yishmael. I love them both. And you see, look, he loves them both. Even when the Rebbeinu Shalom promises in Yitzchak by the bris over there, he says to him, Yishmael Yechil Fanecha. I don't need Yitzchak. What do you mean you don't need Yitzchak? What mean? So I mean, that was really an argument in Sarala and Avraham, but not going into that. But basically, that's what he thought. He loves Yishmael. Okay, I love Yishmael. So that's why I say the guy loves his kids. I don't think he really gives a difference between one kid and another kid. There are milas that one has. I know more about one kid over the other kid. You have even Rav Papa. You have to make a siyum, right? So you say, well, 10 sons of Rav Papa, right? Yet there's a story between Rav Papa and Reuven that Reuven once said he was Mekabel shtar. And Rav Papa came along and said, it's a shtar, it's a mezuyif to shtar. So he says, sorry kid, you're only one egg, so I can't do nothing. Then came along Bas Rav Chisda, his wife, and said, it's mezuyif to shtar, so he put her away. Why? He said, the guy asked him, is Bas Rav Chisda bigger than Rav Papa? He says, no, but I know Bas Rav Chisda and I don't know Rav Papa. Rav Papa is this Talmud Movik. What do you mean I don't know Rav Papa? But the idea is that intimately, I know my wife. My wife doesn't lie to me. But Rav Papa, he's a El Chayid. El Chayid has a chazokah, they don't lie. But it's a chazokah, that's all it is. So Rav Papa heard that. He said, if that's the case, that Abba Mori Bari is also like that. The only one, he's 5 down or 6 down. I don't remember, it was the 5th or the 6th, is Abba Mori. So he's the one you trust more than anybody else. What does that mean? No, everyone else is fine. Bill Kamen de Chachot, I trust them all. There's no question about it. But one to tell me that it's a fact is only Abba Mori. I do business with him. I see that he doesn't lie ever. He doesn't try to make things coat over, make it sugar-coated and all that. They think he takes the blame. I see he doesn't lie ever, no matter what the situation is. So I know that he never liked a Beitrei. So if he says something that's a fact, the other kids have a chazokah, but that's all I know. I don't know for sure that they tell me the truth. I hope they're telling me the truth or something like that, but I don't know if they're telling me the truth, and that's what he means. So therefore, there's a big differences in these things. So again, it's a lot to think about what's called love and the absence of love. So obviously, in different things, there would be such a thing. Now, 2 friends, right? One I call my best friend, and one is Slama friend, an acquaintance, right? That's because I didn't get much of a chance to get from this guy as I did from this guy. I don't know if that means anything. Like you always have this question where you have a problem like in friendships. You have 2 guys that are friends. One guy is the best friend he has, it's the only friend he has. And the other guy is, you're my best friend, but I have 1,000 best friends, right? So the guy that only has the one best friend is always trying to dominate this guy because he's the only friend he got. So therefore he's always trying to take up his time and stuff like this. And everybody feels he's taking up his time because, hey, this guy's got 1,000 best friends. You're only one of 1,000, you know, the thing there. So why are you taking up his thing there? So obviously we know there's different relationships and stuff. But in the madrega of what's called ahava, I love him. What do you love? And that's the problem in the thing over there. So we're not, I think what we'd be talking maybe is not the ahava tluya b'davar, which is like ties and stuff like that. We're talking about the ahava she'eina tluya b'davar. In other words, what kind of kids you are. Now, the kid that davens, the kid that's geschmack and this and that brings you nachas, right? Like, you love him a lot more than the other one. But maybe not. Maybe as my son, I love them both equal. I'll do anything for any one of them. But it's obviously mindless one over the other. So I'm saying that's something we have to think about. But you see, the Torah points it out. That's what I'm saying. So the Torah is pointing out there is this difference between less love and hatred. So,
It's a stark Lashon, Snu, right?
have a good Shabbos, everybody.
Snu is a strong Lashon, though. Snu is a strong Lashon. Snu is a strong Lashon.
Or we have to realize what sinner means. That's what I'm saying. We're not talking, I hate you, I'm going to kill you. Hate you means that I don't want to be